Welcome to another episode of The Clark Show, and I am joined by a fantastic person today, and she is my sister, a fantastic artist, and someone who will actually literally surprise you. So let's all welcome Shandie Garrison, please. All right, Shandie, let's start with the small stuff. The literal badges on your jacket. Tell me about them, because what I learned from high school is each badge usually tells a story. Sometimes just a band you like, sometimes it's something you're absurdly obsessed with. So let's start there.
All right. Oh man, I'm gonna have to stand back up for this one. I've got a lot on here, but some of my favorites include Black Metal Vegeta. You probably can't see that, but he's got corpse paint on, which is legit.
Them Widow's Peaks.
Yeah, you have to have that Widow's Peak. It's black metal. It's awesome. No real story behind that, except that I like metal music. I have Snake on here.
Snake?
Yeah, because my favorite thing to do is talk like Snake.
There's 3 of them. So many.
What? Where?
There's 3 snakes.
Oh,
Venom,
yeah.
Liquid, and Solid.
Yes. Also, lots of random anime. I've got Akira on here a few times. Tank Girl. Back here we've got...
Oh my god.
Rambo.
It
says Shambo. And Rambo versus children in a fight to the death.
That's messed up. There's a website that guesses how many kindergartners you can beat up based on your weight and living habits. So tell me, you're also a D&D. You also manage several D&D campaigns. Is that correct?
So I manage or
DM?
I DM for one campaign actually where I work for the community.
Isn't that awesome? That's just hilarious.
Yeah, I get paid to DM, but also I play in quite a few campaigns. So the campaign I'm currently running, there's about 6 players. One other person co-DMs it with me. He brings to life all the characters, whereas I'm the one who's built the world and the settings that they all play in.
You're Tolkien and your friends like Stephen Colbert?
Yeah, exactly. He's, he busts out his sexy lady voice and it's so convincing.
Sexy lady voice? Yeah. I need to hear this now.
Oh, you do?
So tell me, you have your own campaign. Tell me about your personal one, the one that you wrote.
Okay. So what it is the party are experiencing this nightmare and it's affecting their sleep, and while they're traveling they're going to have these hallucinations. They're going to be affected by this reoccurring nightmare, and they're going to have exhaustion levels that'll hinder what they're trying to achieve, to the point where they'll actually start having elements of the nightmare come true in the real world. It's going to be really interesting, heavily inspired by the Sandman comics, a little bit of Stranger Things, a little bit of Silent Hill. It's going to be like a psychological horror based game, and we've got really interesting people bringing to life their characters, and so far it's really fun. I'm excited.
And how did you make your way into DMing? Because what we all know is in the older scores of gaming, like Magic, it's rare to see a female leading in any situation, not, just because it's for lack of interest or because it's dominated by males. So tell me, how did you work your way into DMing something? Did you really want to do it, so you just slammed in there, or what happened?
So what happened is I was looking for a group of people to play with, and there was one group that I could play with, and it was fun, but it wasn't enough. Once you get into D&D,
yes.
It's like... It's addicting. It's like a drug. I mean, you're
very legal drugs.
Very legal, nerdy drugs. And
yes.
It's fun because you're creating experiences with a group of people. So it's a social nerdiness as what people normally don't think of when they think of people playing D&D. You're like, that person has no friends. You can't play D&D if you have no friends.
That's how it works.
So I decided I wanted to create something of my own that people could enjoy and kind of experience. And I also listened to Critical Role, which is amazing, with Matthew Mercer and Marisha Ray and all of them. It's incredibly inspiring to just do something that's creative that other people can really play with. It's like a verbal video game.
Yeah, I got into it a long time ago, but it was really fun for me because Dan Harmon, they drink far too much and play. It's my favorite. Their Shadowrun is fantastic.
Yo, absolutely.
So tell me, in the realm of nerdiness, from comics all the way through movies, video games, how is it as a female? Has it been easy? Has it been hard? Have you made a lot of friends? Has people made it difficult for you? So just tell me your experience.
So I grew up in rural Washington where it wasn't really accepted in the early 90s to be like A, super nerdy, but B, like a girl and super nerdy. I wasn't just like, oh, I like video games. It was like, hey, I'm going to scarf down my lunch if I'm eating lunch because I might save my money for a booster pack at the card shop after school, but I'm going to eat as quickly as possible so I can go to the library so I can play Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Magic the Gathering or whatever. So I got made fun of a lot. And I got bullied a lot until I moved to California where people were actually, you know, a lot more accepting. It's a lot more diverse, so it was fostered a lot more here. But being a female, once you're in an area that actually accepts the nerd culture in general, I've had no issues with it. Generally, I've found that there's an equal number of women in the nerd realm as there are men. It's just maybe not always as known. Yeah. Especially like in anime and stuff. I mean, holy Toledo, like.
It's just flipping now.
Right? I went to SMC and it's like the nerd table was very like.
We were quite the experience. Let me ask you another question too, because as a person, I really believe in like female empowerment and stuff like that, but I do it in very weird ways that most people don't understand. So let's talk about that later. But do you feel like, especially in the way things are written today, that you have like people that you are interested in as not as role models, just as like people you go, F yeah, that character exists. Like, do you, like Wonder Woman, Bayonetta, or anything like that?
Tank Girl, hello, Tank Girl's the shit. Yeah, just how brash she is. How, I mean, half the time in the comics, she's, like, naked and not in a sexy way. Yeah. Like, she's just running around like, this is my body and I'm doing crazy stuff. Yeah. Like, just in random media, Domino's cool. Yeah. Have you seen that yet? Yeah. Have you watched that yet?
I have.
Okay, good.
They made her look fantastic in Deadpool 2 as well.
No, not that Domino. Silly Keira Knightley Domino.
Oh, no, I've not seen that.
Okay, you need to. But yes, there's quite a few female stories, like, as I mentioned, Sandman before, one of the strongest, most stable characters in that story is Death. And it's this calm, demeanored female who is just collected and goes around and, you know, hey, come with me.
Walk this way.
Yeah, woohoo. So yeah, I feel like there's more representation in video games and comics.
I love Ramona Flowers.
Oh.
She's so complex.
Yes.
She's
I like Knives too.
Knives is great because her dad is awesome as well.
Not only that, but like maybe, well, first of all, in the comics, Knives and Kim, just saying.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But in the movie, like, remember, you know, where she's like, go get her. You've been fighting for her this whole time.
Which originally did not happen.
I know it didn't happen, but in the movie it did. Yeah. And that was, I thought that was really cool because they showed Knives' character mature from being this vengeful, like, oh, how dare her, she took my man, to being like
ass. She took him from me.
So it went from that to being like, you know what, like, do it.
Let me ask you a question, because there's been this like interesting aspect of like characters, female being like sexualized and stuff, but the writing where they own their sexuality. How do you feel about that? Because when I started really getting into certain sides of like female characters, it was really easy for me to pass it off as like something that's not that difficult because I'd read Greek lore and Athena's naked literally 90% of the time. So characters like Bayonetta or like pin-up, Wonder Woman and all that. How do you feel about that? Like, I personally think it's great, even if the writers didn't have the greatest intention. I think females should be empowered by their body, even if like the woman doesn't represent them. Obviously, there should be more female representation. But what do you think about that in general? Just like the sexual side of women being shown more, because it's not shown as much. Like, I read Bitch Planet, so I was just wham, like that hit me in the fucking face. So.
Okay, well, to put it out there, I think women are extremely aesthetically appealing as an artist, as an individual. So when it comes to women like pinup, sexualized, as long as it's not breaching the realm of like rape and non-consensual, like I think it's great. Obviously, there's a sexual nature in everyone, unless that's not something that you partake in. It's something that has to be acknowledged. And I feel like there's a healthy way to acknowledge that in art and media. And I think it's great. Especially like a very good modern example is cosplay.
Yeah.
You see tons of women going out and dressing as these characters that are very, sexually, revealing and everything.
Yeah.
And it's not that they're out there being slutty. It's not that they're out there, doing it necessarily for negative attention, but they're comfortable with their bodies, and half those girls are thick.
Yeah.
But they're still beautiful. It's great.
Yeah, it is.
I think it's fantastic. And I feel like as a whole, hopefully, from what I've seen, is the community of women are very supportive for the most part, especially in the nerd community. I really like it.
I want to wind that down, and then we're going to talk about your art. Can I have you say 3 characters, female, that are kind of sexy that you recommend to people to look up? And I'll do the same. For me, it's Bayonetta, obviously, because she's not only a badass, she's also a mother, which I think is really beautiful in the sense that you never really see that. It's just oh, this person's sexy and she's badass. No, she takes care of a child. That's fantastic to me. I also recommend DC pinups just because they're fantastic and really interesting and really beautifully rendered. I can't think. I lost my third one because my brain sucks. So do you have any? Major Makoto Kusanagi. She's a literal military captain. She dresses very sleek, very agile. She dresses to fight basically, and that's kind of what you wear when you want to kill someone very quickly. So Makoto Kusanagi is a fantastic leader as well. So I love her. So who do you recommend?
Oh man, I am drawing a complete.
I know you said Tank Girl's one of them.
Blank. I love Tank Girl.
Yeah.
There's so many. Literally a gambit of women just fell out of my brain onto the floor.
We can definitely come back to that. So let's talk about.
I'll be thinking while we.
So last thing is we're going to talk about your art. You not only make D&D campaigns, you not only know about the female scene very much, but you make pins. You're an actual artist. You can draw with pens. I think you do some digital art. That's how you made some of your pins. So tell me about your journey in art.
So I do mixed media, anything from like you said, traditional style art, all the way to digital. I do music, so pretty much anything. I really enjoy color pencils, specifically ink, not markers, but just inking.
Comic book style.
Yeah. Acrylic paint, watercolor, and then digital is pretty self-explanatory, installments. Actually, I think I showed you the thing I was working on for a friend of mine's birthday, where there's different materials that were reflective and for a visor for Ready Player One.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I did see that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, and how I popped it from the background and did different textures and stuff. I've been doing art pretty much my whole life, and while I don't do it professionally because fuck that.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
As we've just said, it's just
I like to
unless you're the 10%, it's not worth it.
10%? I wish.
The top 10% are just people just raking in the money.
Yeah, and that talent. I just do it for passion and anything I can get my hands on. The pin, I love Alien and Aliens. So in Aliens, there's a scene with Ripley and Hicks, and they're all looking at each other, and it's all passionate and stuff. And there's no pin of that. It would be the best pin ever. And one of the taglines in the movie is affirmative. So it's them looking at each other passionately and affirmative underneath with firm in a different color. So sexy. It's great.
Yes.
Yeah. Sexual innuendos. Always.
Hashtag always.
Mm-hmm.
Have you figured out your 3 yet? Or at least one. Just give me one.
I mean, if we're going with comic books.
Anywhere. I went all over the place.
Yeah, Ramona Flowers, you already said, right?
Yeah, Ramona Flowers is great. You can totally piggyback Ramona Flowers.
Yeah, totally piggybacking Ramona Flowers.
She's legitimately a complicated character. She not only has baggage, she runs away from it.
I reserve the right to change my mind about the sex. Boom.
That was a wonderful line to me.
Remember that.
Yeah, that was
guys, remember that too. We're not being sexist. You can change your mind about sex as well.
My second favorite line from Ramona was, "Scott, get in the bag." That's my second favorite line.
Yes.
When she kicks her girlfriend's ass inside of a Burger King, basically. Yep. So thank you for coming on the show. It's been fantastic.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. You're amazing.
Thanks.
I love you.
Yep.
Bye, guys. And we're out.